Where's your corrective culture shirts?
Grew up in the limelight, everything was shining bright. No, I don't know.
Tricks.
All right, we've got our good friend Rod on today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No worries, man. So it's been cool to. We and Jake were talking about it the other day. Really see you step into. What would you say, Jake? Like step into being authentic, like
Yeah,
really
like
yourself.
Yeah, stepping into your authenticity and just going, fuck it, this is who I am, and I'm gonna ruffle some feathers and not give a fuck.
Yeah, it's weird. Hey, I got this before I went to Vipassana. I think I did one video, and this chick just said, yeah, just go for it. And then after that, it was just one after the other. It's like you just keep getting signs, and I just trust the intuition. I just like, if the universe says, like that chick I said that I ran into at Canara, or someone says I like the video, say, okay, I'll do another one. And someone else, okay, I'll do another one.
Yeah, well, the people that don't like it will drop off, and the people that do like it will come on board, man. It's just like, that's where you figure out where your tribe's at.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Like the video the other day, I've been telling the boys to follow and have a look. Like it was fucking 3:30 a.m. and you're up having an ice bath, and then it's talking about just weak people, and then the next day it was 4:30 a.m. and it said late start, and I was like, fuck.
He's on another level.
Yeah, you're on another level right now with that self-discipline. What's pushed you? Was it there that how do you say it?
Vipassana. Vipassana definitely. I mean, it always helps because you've got to get up at 4:30 when you're there, and you meditate till 9 p.m. So you're meditating all day, basically.
Can you explain to everyone what it actually is?
Yeah. So Vipassana, it directly translates to observation of the reality, like as it is. So you're essentially just sitting there meditating on what's coming up in your body at that moment. So our minds are always constantly reacting, right? Like our unconscious mind reacts to a sensation on our body. That is just like conditioned, right? It's just constantly reacting. So when you're sitting there meditating, you'll get all these thoughts come up, but you just want to go around the sensations on your body. So you'll start on your top of your head, you'll move, you'll scan your whole body, go all the way down your arm, other arm, down your chest, down your back, through your legs, all the way back up again. And what you'll notice is there's sensations constantly on every single part of your body, down to the like subatomic particle, but obviously that's Buddha level. But what you're training your mind to do is, if you come, like I'll give you an example. I did this 2-hour sit. I wanted to, this time I really pushed myself there. I was like, I'm not moving for 2 hours. Like I'm sitting here for 2 hours, whatever happens. And got close to the hour, and then like I'm scanning my body, my neck, my legs are just fucking numb. Like I can't feel them. I'm like, sweet, we'll just observe it. Don't react. Go all the way back up, head coming back down, still numb. Next time I came down there in so much pain, like I'm just in fucking agony, and I'm just like, it's just pain, just observe it. The next time I came down, it was just subtle vibration. It was so peaceful and like blissful. So the numbness had gone from numb to pain to pleasure. But you can't react to the pleasure as like, oh, thank God, because then you're craving pleasure, and you can't react to the pain because then you're trying to push pain away. So you're always, your mind's always in misery, craving or aversion. So you've got to learn to just be peaceful with whatever comes up.
Yeah, so it's almost like what Ishtar was talking about. Hey, like not being pulled too far one way or the other.
Yeah,
just like staying peaceful right in the middle of that. And it's silent, isn't it? So
silence. Yeah, you don't talk you talk on the 10th day just to kind of wean you back into society. But yeah, it definitely, you start to learn about why you react to anything in life, and you come back here and like things don't faze you because you're like, okay, getting up at the ice bath. It's like the trigger in the morning. It's like, fuck, that's going to be cold. But then if you don't react to it and you just go get in the ice bath, it's like, okay, deal with it then. And it's like, okay, it's cold. It was just cold. That's it. You just watch the cold.
And because I know you're so active even in the political world, as the awareness of it and finances and all that side of things too, you know what I mean? And if we look into that, it seems so grim, like, and how do you did you use that in the way that you see China's coming, like in the way that the future, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I guess since the beginning, I've kind of looked at the corruption of everything. Yeah. And I see it on our level. Like I see the Sunshine Coast Council is fucking corrupt as fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can it not be at a scale of state and at national and then global? Like, it just makes no sense. If they're doing things here that make no sense to benefit few people that are involved, then it's like it's happening everywhere. The China's coming thing, like, I mean, China's coming, of course it is. China's already here, but it's more of a like push. It's like, okay, Australians are weak. We're not doing fucking anything. We're all the Western culture is very like, we've had it good for a long time. Like, no one wants to do anything. Like, no one wants to work more than 35 hours a week, and then it's hard. China's had it come out of nowhere, so of course they're going to fucking work harder than us and take what they want. So it's kind of like, if you want to beat them, you gotta work harder than them.
Yeah.
So it's I'm not actually scared of it. Like, the new world order is going to change. Everything changes, but it's kind of a bit of a drive, and just keep yelling at people.
Yeah,
come on,
just
get up. China's coming.
Yeah. That's such a good slogan.
Like, dude, you got to do a shirt.
I was thinking that you should get a T-shirt. China's coming.
Yeah, time to wake up. China's coming.
Yeah, wake up.
4:30 a.m. is like the logo, just the alarm clock.
Yeah, that's sick, man. Yeah.
But Eric Thomas, I listen to him a little bit. ET.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, and he said, what does he say? Get up. If you get up at 3, then you don't have to be like better than them. You just have to be quicker than them. So and he gets up at 3 o'clock every day. And honestly, like, getting up and going to the gym for an hour, meditating for an hour, and then by the time like you watch the sunrise, then you eat breakfast and you start your day. I don't need to worry about doing that stuff because I've already done it.
Yeah, fucking oath.
And the more I meditate, the less I need to sleep. So like at the moment, my meditate, like, this is the problem. You come out of Vipassana and you're good, and then you slowly do like 45 minutes, and then you're like 30 minutes at night, and then you need more sleep. When I meditate morning and night, hour and hour, I can sleep for 6 hours and I'm better. That's why I threw my ring away, because I was like, fuck, every time, my ring's not telling me I've meditated for 2 hours a day and like how good my meditation was. So.
Totally, man. Like that Shen Yi that I love, he's up, he was doing this video, man. He's sipping a tea and he's like sipping it, going really slowly, and he's like, anyway, it's 1:30 in the morning and he's doing a podcast, and I was like, why is this motherfucker up? So I looked into it a little bit more, and he's like, he just sleeps a couple of hours or 3 hours. Like, he does so much qigong and energy work that he doesn't need to sleep as much. And I know Scott Rigby told us that when he was in China, like, they hardly sleep because the meditation is such an equivalent of sleep.
What's that guy? He's got the wide beard, and he says he only sleeps like 2-3 hours a day. He's a meditation guy too. But they say that of a pastor. The guy, S.N. Goenka, who's no longer like with us, but he who spread it from, like, Vipassana is 2,000 years old, but it was lost for 2,000 years. And he kind of brought it back and really kind of brought it to the West. But he said, you'll notice that the more you meditate, the less you'll sleep.
Well, okay. And I bet you sleep good when you do sleep.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. I've noticed recently that I've been getting the sunsets, which I guess I never did that before. I never got the sunrise.
Yeah.
And my sleep's completely changed to the better. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, it just happened to him too recently, because he's selling his house, so he's got to get up early and paint it and shit. And now he's all these sleep problems, which you wouldn't have really known you had unless you got the ring, right? But he got the ring. And it is accurate in that sense. Like, it shows you when you wake up and shit. And when you do see that you wake up, you sort of remember it. You're like, that did happen.
Yeah.
Now that's not happening to me. Now I'm sleeping all the way through. So sunrise.
The ring definitely serves its purpose. I've found a lot of problems that I was, like having a bloody sauna at 5 p.m. is dumb for me. I wake up all night pissing because I've drank so much water because I tried to hydrate myself.
Yeah, right.
So I had a sauna last night, and same thing. I woke up twice last night.
For a piss, yeah.
Because I was like, I'm going to be dehydrated. So I drank heaps, and then I'm constantly pissing,
Yeah, so then you got to get your timing on, so it's everything, hey. I can just get everything on point.
And I was finding when I was eating at like 7, I shit sleep. Especially meat, eating meat, heavy meat at 7 p.m. But if I eat meat at 4:30 and that's my dinner, good sleep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah. That does make sense.
Yeah.
I've had clients that was such a big thing for them. They just changed by like an hour or two, and even focus on, if they are eating meat, chewing it more. You know what I mean? Like, good, I remember Helen Patteran once said she's seen so many gut distress problems change from people just chewing their food more.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you think about it, like, fuck that like, everything's energy. Every little pump and contraction through your gut is energy. So that's motility. So if you can help those contractions with your mouth contractions instead of your gut, you will definitely, it's just less energy. Again, less energy to break down your food, and that's all just matter passing through.
Yeah, it's everything. Hey, it's like chewing your food. It's like EMF. It's like getting meditation because we're just living in such a jacked up world, and it's like Paul said something the other day. He's like Humpty Dumpty can fall off the wall, and when Humpty Dumpty falls off the wall, he doesn't get back on the wall. It's like it's about doing all the little things well to keep you healthy, and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Humpty Dumpty.
Well, I guess Humpty Dumpty in my mind seems like cancer, like syndrome X. It's like the last final frontier of your body trying to fucking cope.
Oh yeah.
And I think like everything adds up. I don't think like Alzheimer's and cancer and all these nuts diseases like metal toxicity. It's not drinking tap water. It's not eating organic meat. It's like there's so many things. It's not stretching your body. It's so many things.
It's just physiological load, right?
Yeah, it is exactly.
It's all back to physiological load. Also had on a barbecue yesterday with my family, and my cousin. He was like, I was just getting like, he was in the army. He was like, I was just getting sick like every 3 months and shit. And I just didn't know why. And I was going to the doctors and they were giving me all these pills and stuff. And then he goes, and I just realized it was just stress. He goes, my body was just stressed because, his dad died, then his mum died, and he was in the army. And then and he goes, now I'm not getting sick much, and because they just quit the army. So he's just getting more rest, right? But again, they were looking for what pill they can give him to not get sick, which is outrageous, right? It's happening for a reason.
Fuck.
I've always loved that how Paul talks about, and I teach my clients that, your first warning is always you get tired, and that's it. And that's where there's a fine line between the David Goggins mentality and longevity mentality.
Yeah.
You need to delve into it though for the psyche. Like I did CrossFit when I started, so I know I can go hard. That was my introduction to fucking working out was just going to your vomit. So I know I got that in me and I've experienced that, but now I know that's not the answer. But I'm still glad I got it in me, and I'm glad it pushed me to that. Like, because I now doing a workout like that, I need like a big group environment and like someone pushing me if we're gonna go fucking let's do 20 minutes, as many as we can do. Like, because my body paid for it, man. My back paid for it. My shoulders paid for it. Just catabolic. I remember doing a workout and not being able to like sit on the toilet, and then you go do the fucking similar workout the next day, and 5 minutes in you can get away with it, but it's I was 19 and my body felt worse then than I do now at 29. So it's fucking it's crazy. How are you going with like movement side of things? Do you go to the gym? Do you?
I go to the gym, but I've just I've been doing gym. I do gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, jits Tuesday, Thursday.
Oh,
where are you?
Really? I didn't know you were jitsin, dude. Oh, you at Nambour?
Gaha, in Nambour.
Oh, wow. I heard that's
about a year.
He's good. He came to our gym and rolled the other day. He's a legend, eh?
Michael.
Yeah. The head black belt there.
Yeah, it's good. I've been enjoying it. I just been like, that's it, just consistent every Tuesday, Thursday. And
sick.
Cool. Good,
yeah. In gi or no gi?
Gi, yeah. I was just thinking I haven't done no gi before. I'll come here Saturday.
Yeah, come here on Saturday, man. That's awesome. I've heard that club's really good. Yeah. I remember Marky, one of the boys, went there and some of the white belts were fucking him up with what do you call it?
Guard?
Lasui sort of. What was the other one?
The
one that worm guard. They were worm guarding him. I didn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah,
wrapping him up. It's like fighting someone in a hoodie. You know what I mean? It's,
for sure.
It's got its place.
Yeah,
literally, it's like gi is fighting someone in winter.
Yeah.
No gi is fighting someone in summer, and they both have their place.
Interesting way to look at it, yeah. But I still do like a few of the exercises you gave me when we were working together. But like I was rolling for like half an hour last night.
What did you first see Jake for the body? Pain? Was there pain? Or you just?
I probably was like back from computer and stuff and sitting because I drive a lot and sit at a computer. But I think I just wanted to come and check it out, to be honest.
Yes.
Like obviously knew I wouldn't have had perfect back. So
you were pretty good though. Pretty good. Yeah, just a lot of time sitting down. You're just going to get those. Yeah. Just that classic like forward posture a little bit.
Yeah.
Everyone, so many people come in for the upper back, neck tightness, and then you just teach them that generally you feel the things that are long. Like I think of it now, like whenever they're long, they become hypertonic or hypoxic. So it's like they're losing blood flow and oxygen. It's like you're taking one end and the other and just pulling it, you know what I mean? So the insertion and origin are further away from each other whenever someone's flexed forward. So even though their chest and their abdominals and the neck is all pulling them into a inflection, they're never going to feel it there. They're going to feel it in their back because that's pulled long.
Yeah, right.
So it's the same way as like when you sleep, we move when we sleep, because if I'm sleeping on my side and my neck's tilted a little bit, whatever the long side of my neck is will become hypertonic, and then it will those tonic fibers they communicate to the brain very well, and then it will tell your body to shift over and move to another way to shorten that and maybe lengthen the other. It's like a pump, but you can never just stay still all night because the body isn't even meant to do that. Yeah. And that's the way I think about every joint or every part of the body. Like at the barbecue last night, my mate, hamstring tear at his ischium, or tendinosis at his ischium anyway, itis at his ischium. And he'd done 2 years of physio for it. And he goes, I was doing it religiously. I was like, 2 years? Fuck, that's a long time. You know, it should be getting there. And then the guy said, it goes, there's still a bit of pain attached to it. And the guy told him, oh, it's probably neural. You know, your body's felt that pain for so long and it's attached to that, which is a bit of a fucking cop saying, oh, this isn't working. It's probably just neural. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's like, all right. So he goes, yeah, you can run in that. And he goes, I went for a run. And then I noticed my stride was a little bit longer. I think he was doing heaps of hamstring stretching or something. And then it just fucking went again. And then his back went straight after that with the disc bulge because there was no hamstring stability. Right. So the guy was stretching his hammies. But remember how he felt the hammies? They were long. They weren't tight. His hip flexors were tight, making his hamstrings really long. So he should be releasing his hip flexors. And he even told me, my hip flexors are so tight.
Yeah.
And that's where Walden talks about hamstring tears with quad dominance on that same side.
Yeah.
But enough about the body.
With the sleep thing on that,
it's
another fucking stupid thing that I've done is, have you ever slept on the floor, like just straight on the floor?
I
haven't, no.
Because like, is there a perfect? I mean, I thought about. I didn't think about why the hell I did it apart from just doing it. But I think like ancestrally, it kind of makes sense. You wouldn't have a comfy bed, like 6 inches of bloody foam.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's why
and the Japanese.
Yeah. Well, that's why we get people on a long foam roller because it puts them in extension. But they only generally can do that for so long. And I think about like you watch monkeys, they find something comfy in the trees. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then they're not really sleeping flat on the ground. They wouldn't be. They were in the canopies, right? Yeah. So they would have been hard times for sure. But I'm sure at their base they would have had some sort of leafy thing. Because this is what I found. My mattress, I swapped from a cheap mattress to this fucking expensive organic thing, right? And then it was way too hard and my sleep went to shit. And I had dead arms, you know, I'd roll on my side, have dead arms. And then recently I found a mattress topper, softened it a lot, and it's such a difference. Yeah. It's like I sit in there and like, whoa, and my back, there's a fine line, right? Because if it's too soft, then you like can fall into like sort of a bit of lumbar extension and things like that where it doesn't really support your body. But if it's too hard, then if you roll into your side, that whole arm's being crushed, you know what I mean? So it's a fine line, hey? And I think the body will tell you, it'll just tell you when you're comfortable.
Yeah.
You know? It's like it tells us everything, right? Oh, this feels comfortable. Stay here. That's too hard, you know? But it is really good short term. Like, say you're doing a nap, if you can lay on the flat ground, that's going to be always good. Yeah.
I always feel good when I've only done it a few times, times, but I always feel good after it.
Yeah.
What I notice in the morning, you can get up straight away because you're so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this, I'm going to start my day.
Try for like 8 hours.
Yeah. Like not growing up doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be such a shock for you to just get on the floor and just get there for 8 hours, eh?
Yeah. Well, it's creep, man. So this is a cool thing. When I hurt my back doing this like lumbar extension exercise, I laid on the long roller, and it was cool because I give this to clients, but I never actually got to. I always just did it, but I never really got a benefit out of it besides it felt nice because I had no pain to attach it to. But when I was laying on this roller, about 4 minutes in, after 3 minutes, you'll get creep. So gravity will hit your spine, whether you're on the roller or not, whether you're laying your back on the ground, right? Gravity will hit your spine and slowly lengthen it. Yeah, right. Like a horizontal force almost going this way. And as that lengthens after 3 minutes, it'll start to give, like creeps, they call it creep. And everything just sort of lets go. It's not holding on. And when I hurt my back, I was laying on that roller with my knees bent, so my lumbar spine was a bit flatter. If your legs are straight, it's sort of going to give you too much extension in your lumbar spine. So you almost got to lay there with your feet on the floor with your knees bent. And something just like almost popped or gave, but it was like pressure just alleviated. And it felt nice while I was on it, but I didn't know. And then when I stood up, the pain was about, 30 to 40% less, like immediate quality of life was, and I only had the pain for 3 days, but I was like, fuck man, if you had back pain and longer than fucking a week, or if you had back pain and you had like, if someone blows a disc, that's 500 days of healing they got ahead of them. like that is such a process, and they need little tools like that can really help you acutely. And the next day that pain was somewhat back, but it helped me sleep better that night. Like I could walk around more upright. I didn't have to bend forward because my body was trying to pull me away from the pain. That was just laying on the roller, simple, because it's about all I could do. And I knew in that acute stage, it was just anti-inflammatory. When I say that, I don't mean fucking Panadol and shit. I'm talking about turmeric and curcumin and bone broth and just not inflaming your body with anything. And rest and hydration and gentle movement, because movement is just flow. And people don't realize that a lot of the work is just moving the area as much as you can. Because I've been listening to this tendon guy recently, and he's like, as soon as you fucking break your foot, you move that straight away. As soon as the surgery is done, it begins. I don't care what they tell you. If it's your 8-week boot, you take that, like your leg. You took the boot off in 5 days when it was meant to have 8 weeks, and you power healed it.
Yeah.
Because that's where the body has to download the collagen, and it needs the force to say where it's going to go. Otherwise, it gets messy, like scar tissue.
Yeah, for sure. I'm still dealing with I'm still rehabbing now. Like, the initial rehab was great, but I think there's like all sorts of parts and points of rehab, like late, long rehab, like 2 years. It took me 2 years to run. So and I lost spring and plyometrical like strength. So I can't like jump and flex my foot and go plantar and dorsiflexion. It just really sucks. It's like, but that's because I didn't do any of it.
Yeah.
I think you need to.
Yeah, with that adaptation. So. That
adaptation has to come, and there's a lot of nerve damage in my fibula and I mean my around my peroneal area, and I just feel like the spring's gone. Yeah. But to adapt that, like you've seen what I've been doing, jumping and stuff, and it's like, it's getting better.
Yeah.
I can only do 5 and now I can do 10. So.
Yeah, and remember, bones bend. We're totally all water, so now you got this rod that you're going to lose that little bit of recall.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a sort of legless. What's that runner that killed his missus? What's his name? The South African dude with those fucking 2 hooks on his feet.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I think he's still in jail for it. I maybe he got out. But it's that spring.
Yeah, the spring.
And the stuff with that tendon stuff I'm getting into lately, you got 10 minutes of adaptation into you. So if you want to. If you're someone that say gets shin splints, or you change to a barefoot running shoe and your feet aren't adapted, you got 10 minutes of adaptation in you, and then you have to have a 6-hour break, and it will stop it stops adapting until a 6-hour break, and then you can adapt again, and you only get 10-minute periods, which is amazing, right? So this goes for stretching too. They had a tendon, put it on some machine, they stretch it for 24 hours straight. After 10 minutes, it just stopped. Right? Doesn't matter what you did. Yeah, then they did 10-minute stretch by 6-hour break, 10-minute stretch, 6-hour break, which would have been 4 times to equal the 24 hours. So that would have only been 40 minutes of stretching, and it got further and more responsive in the tendon for downlaying collagen. So this goes if you were running, jump rope, any tendon work, any sort of adaptation work that you're trying to, like say Jake's foot, he can do those hops, but if he does it for beyond 10 minutes, he's not getting any more benefit out of it. So it's cool.
So switching to barefoot shoes, like you'd want to do, no more than 20-minute runs. Yeah, that's for sure. And you're definitely gonna, as soon as you switch from a soft shoe to a barefoot shoe, you're gonna start to forefoot strike instead of heel strike. So that's gonna put a lot more pressure on the Achilles and everything like that. So you're right. You'd only start small. Hey,
start
for
10
6
minutes,
months,
10 minutes, and you have 15 to 20 grams of collagen 1 hour before it with a bit of vitamin C, and that 4-folds the collagen synthesis. According to Keith Barr, he's a tendon guy. It's his life work. Yeah, right. So exactly. Your foot's landing in plantar flexion. Think about how different that is. Like you literally change your foot, and now all of a sudden you'll land with your forefoot instead of your heel. So when your heel's landing, your Achilles and calf is eccentrically loaded compared to almost like a kangaroo concentrically loaded as it hits the ground, and then it decelerates through eccentric. So it makes your calf feel tighter, stronger, just adapts it to running. So we all need to have a little bit of running. I've actually thought about it recently. I want to start like getting a little bit of running.
Too. And just I actually did it yesterday. I went for a little jog, and I was just forefoot striking, and I was just over the top of my toes a little bit more, and it was just nice. Yeah, it just feels more natural to do that. Yeah, like because I've always ran, and I was always a heel striker for sure.
Yeah. Everyone, man, in a shoe you have to be.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
and that's why I was thinking like, fuck it, a treadmill just won't be the same, hey, because it's not the same. You're not really decelerating as much. You're landing and it's sliding underneath you compared to like braking. And now I've had a concept recently that's changed about the body where instead of thinking of muscles of contracting, so getting shorter, I now think of them as brakes. So the momentum gets started from a bit of contraction. Say we went for a run, but now I see the action of every muscle of eccentrically braking the momentum, because the momentum's already there once it started. So the hamstrings are, a flexor of the knee, but not really. Gravity flexes the knee. When you're standing, gravity's going to flex the knee. You don't need the hamstrings to contract to do that. The hamstrings will eccentrically stop the tibia shearing forward. So the hamstring is a brake for the tibia to help the ACL, basically. And they're not bending the knee every time you run, which is pretty cool.
Which is also funny. Like if you snap your ACL, which is also to stop the knee from doing that, they take a graft from your hamstring. So they affect the hamstring. So now your last line of defense is fucked.
Yeah, they're both damaged.
So it's a weird thing.
Yeah, what's another? Can they take a tendon from somewhere else?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Because the ACL has blood that runs through it. Yeah, sometimes the tissue from the hamstring's just not good enough, and it won't adapt, because what they do is they take the graft of the hamstring and they spin it in a vise. And if you ever look at the surgery, it like they spin it till it's like a ligament. Then they attach it in where it needs to be attached. So, and then blood flow goes through it. So sometimes it just doesn't adapt. And that's why, the first six weeks is so important for ACL rehab. But I just think it's funny because like the hamstring like you just said, stops the knee from coming in. But if they've snapped their ACL, then the hamstring's trying to be the last part, and it's probably a huge player in the reason why that happened in the first place, hey?
Yeah. Well, if the hamstrings are weak, then that ACL's copping more every stride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're quad dominant, then the hamstring's getting always weaker. And then if you're quad dominant, and the ACL's getting loaded even more through that patellar tendon, and it's just this fucking vicious cycle of, and plus whenever you do tear a hamstring or a hamstring thing, it takes a long time to heal. They take long times to recover the hamstrings compared to other muscles. Yeah.
Would you say like it's probably the most important muscle below? It has to be, It's like, because it's such a ropey, strong, fibrous muscle. It must be, it's the hugest player, Maybe that and your hip flexor.
Yeah, like I guess, well, a lot of people have that. I mean, ACL.
Yeah.
ACL is the one that usually goes, right? And the hamstrings is going to be the biggest support to not letting that go. Yeah. With the glutes, not letting it twist, because a lot of the time ACLs go with a twist too.
Yeah, when the foot's planted.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to ask you, we're just been going into the body. We've been nerding out pretty hard on the body lately, and
it's good.
We're loving it. Have you seen Midnight Gospel?
No.
Just the reason I say that is because the final episode on Midnight Gospel, I reckon you should watch, and I reckon you should watch the whole series because it's fucked up.
I don't actually have seen it yet, man. I gotta watch that.
Fuck, man, it'll weird you out the first episode, I reckon, but like the third one, Ram Dass is in it, and he's it's cool. And Duncan Trussell, you know who Duncan Trussell is?
No.
He's just he's an amazing creative guy, but he's a meditator and among a bunch of other stuff. Spent a lot of time with Raghu, who we just had on the podcast, and Ram Dass as well. But the reason I say that is his mum was dying, and he got her on a podcast. Have you seen that one?
I only saw that snippet that fucking nearly made me cry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the mum's on the whole podcast talking about death and dying, and one bit that stands out to me is he's like, well, what do you do when you feel sad and your parents are dying and blah blah blah? And she's like, you cry, and she's on stage 4 terminal breast cancer, I think. Yeah, I think it was breast cancer. But it's so touching. And the meditation she says is like, because I was listening to you earlier, how you said it's each cell, like you can really get down to present, like not just the breath coming in and the breath coming out, but like each moment in that breath is a whole lifetime in itself almost.
Yeah, that's true.
And she talks about, which was a good one for our listeners to try, is like, feel the feeling in your right shoulder, and you put your mind's eye on that right shoulder. And then she's like, well, now go down to your left knee and put your feeling in that left knee. And then you go down to there. And she's like, now come back up to the shoulder, and I want you to keep your attention on the shoulder. But then I want you to also feel the sensation in your knee as well while you're feeling the shoulder. So you've got 2 parts in your body that you're completely feeling at once. And then you can put it down into the ankle, and you can start to scan your body and go inward through each toe and everything. But also, it's a weird feeling. It's super presence, isn't it? Like when you're going from, like, say, your fingers to your shoulder to your hip to your knee, but you can feel them all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you get to about day well, not necessarily if it's your first time, but you go day 7, 8, 9, like you're so deep by then. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine what a 20, 30 or 40 day sit is. There's 60 day sits.
Holy
But you get to a point where you can feel the whole body and it's like a nothingness. Like you can literally, your whole body's just vibrating at once. You're feeling every particle of your body.
Yeah.
But it also feels like there's nothing there either.
Mm.
So it's like you realize then that you are actually just nothing or no solidity whatsoever.
Yeah.
Vibration.
Yeah, just a vibration. Yeah. But when you get to day 9, they let you penetrate in to feel the sensations inside your body as well, like on your organs and bones and everything. I did it accidentally on day 5. I'd never done it before. And I was going in my leg, and I was feeling the vibration. I was feeling the sensations on my bone coming up, and then I was going back down. It kind of wigged me out, but I was doing it for like 5 minutes and there was just no thought. I was just total awareness of the sensation of my bones.
Yeah.
Is it in a dark room or anything, or are you just
We're just in a hall with like 80 people,
80 people?
Yeah, I think it's 70, 70, 80.
And what, you'll have your own like room in that at the end of the day, or?
You got your own like cabin,
Yeah.
So you either share, I think you got a curtain between you in one room, the other one you just got your own room, the other one you got ensuite as well. Just then like there's just a few different ones, or you can get a tent if you want.
Did any of the 80 people just start screaming or like speaking, or no? Did anyone break the code?
Yeah, not this time actually.
Yeah.
I served once, like when you do the cooking and like you help everyone so they can meditate. And there was a guy who left on like day 9. He just walked through the kitchen like fucking yelling and threw money at us, and we're like, what the hell? And then he just left. But imagine the anger of this person. Like 8 days, he's sat with that.
Oh, good on him.
Enough to him to just exploded.
Just triggered, and something big came up for him.
He might have not actually. Maybe it just triggered that one day and he couldn't handle it. And because day 7 and 8, this time I was like, fuck, I want to get the fuck out of here. I'm actually sick of it. Day 9, I didn't want to leave. I would stay there for another 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just the ups and downs of everything. You just
got
to
It's
just got to know that this too will pass. And then
yeah.
And I think that's what they do. They say if you try and leave, I've never tried, but if you try and leave, I think they say, oh, why don't you just do one more meditation, and then if you want to leave. And then they do the one meditation, they realize that everything changes, because everything just changes moment to moment.
Yes.
You could go and sit down once and just have like the complete opposite and go, oh, I didn't actually like when things are coming up, right? They're just like they're agitations, because what they reckon is they're all stored, like these karmas, or they call them sankharas, are just like your, so like if you in your life, like let's use an example, like you're, say you're a drug addict and you're creating cravings towards drugs all the time. So you're creating that sankhara deep in your unconscious mind. So when you crave, like say you want to, like say a cigarette, when someone craves a cigarette, there's a sensation on their body that's arisen. They don't crave the cigarette, they crave that sensation.
Camera.
Oh, yeah, you changed it.
I'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just pause on that one.
Sorry, listeners.
Is it working?
Does your camera keep going?
Whoa. Got the grip on.
We're new to this.
Card full. Fuck, I deleted the whole card, man.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Is that one? That one keeps going.
We're still rolling. Sorry, listeners. We're we're trying this new podcast thing with 4 fucking cameras, and
it's just tech.
It's high tech. We're trying to be like Jake Paul and all those dudes with their different angles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, man.
That's right. Where was I?
The Sankaras.
Oh yeah. So if you're like a smoker, right, all you've got to do is it's easier said than done. But if you are craving a cigarette, you just shut your eyes and observe the sensation in your body. Something will be there, whether it's something in your knee or something in your heart, and you just watch that sensation and just observe it. Eventually the craving goes away, because your mind just wants you to react to that. Right. So, I don't know where I was going.
Stupid mind.
I know where I was going with that. Oh yeah. So when Sankaras, when you're just observing sensations and not reacting to them, that's you going to your unconscious mind. So they believe, which I believe it, because I've seen the results, but that stuff comes up and it triggers the fuck out of you. So that's when you're like, fuck, I want to leave, or this is unbearable, I can't do this. But if you just realize that it's just the storm and you've got to weather it and then it goes away, that's clearing. It's cleansing your mind.
Amazing. That's, sorry, can you say something?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, do you feel like when you've gone in and then come out, do you feel different?
Yeah, you feel like light.
Yeah.
Like you've got a weight off your shoulders. Yeah.
And did it clear up what you want in, like, what do you want in life? What do you want in life?
What do I want in life?
Yeah.
Well, I don't go into clear what I want in life. I guess you go in to learn how to live life better.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
I'll be less attached,
you're less attached to everything. you don't react. You're more of service to humanity. What I want to just give back constantly. That's all I do, right? So the only reason I want to make $1 billion is to create change in the way that I see the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you can never go wrong.
Yeah.
You know, when you want to create change for the
That's
better.
it. And if you just want, everything you do is just for the purpose of giving, like that's all, service. The only time you're going to find fulfillment in life, I think, is giving to others.
Service.
Yeah,
Yeah, service to others.
Remember we spoke the other day about like, because you're into the crypto world and things like that, but you see people go into the crypto world without any asset, without any service to the world. And I see it. There's people I see where they're looking for the gamble. They're looking to get a heap of money, then put it into crypto, and then make that into more money. But it's still a gamble. Like where's that's not.
Yeah, where's the
they're not
fulfillment?
even. It's not even for them storing their wealth. It's. I hope I get rich off this shiny thing. You know what I mean? Instead of where's the service? It's so unfulfilling. And I think about it, and it gives me a sinking feeling of like,
yeah, me too.
fuck, they're risking it, and where's the service? Like where's something that you love to do? You know what I mean? Where's the asset? And then get your asset, and then Kiyosaki that shit.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just like a child archetype, like like my toy, their toy, because that's what it kind of feels like. It's a gambling thing, and it's like there's no fulfillment in it. There's no like we're happy because we're doing this. Hey, we're happy because it comes easy, and it's like it's what we want to do, but we're also helping people. And everything in my life hasn't felt great until this. I feel like I'm finally on my right path, but everyone tells you how good your life is and you're feeling miserable. Doesn't matter if you're a pro surfer or if you're an actor or whatever, but if your heart's not in it, then you just feel miserable, and everyone's telling you how good your life is, but you don't feel it. And it's kind of spiritually courageous to just go, well, what do I want to do? And just go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the Bitcoin thing for service, I'll just quickly touch on it because it's an interesting point.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, literally. I'll jump around like a yo-yo. So I've never thought of, I have thought about it, but Bitcoin is actually a service to humanity. Like if you're buying Bitcoin, you're believing in a future outside of the current banking system, which is, the most fucked thing. It just takes money from the rich, poor, and gives it to the rich because they just keep printing it, right? You can't print Bitcoins. There's 21 million of them ever going to exist. And there's probably only 16 million that will exist because the 5 got lost in the last 10 years from people just losing their keys and stuff. And they can't just print it. So you can't just create more dollars when they want. But what you said on the gambling thing, I think right now is a good time to buy Bitcoin because the story hasn't changed, but we're in a bear market. No one will buy it now. When it starts to come back up and we hit 100,000, everyone will be start money. Oh, fucking Jack's making this much. Tom's making this much money. Let's buy it.
Happened like 4 times.
Yeah, it has, exactly. And they all everyone runs to make the quick money like it's a fucking pokey machine. And you don't win on pokey machines.
No.
So you should buy now when there's
100%,
when it's low, but it's no lower than the highest it was last cycle. Last cycle I think we hit 20 and now we're at 20-ish.
Yeah.
It's like we're at the bottom now.
Yeah,
it might go a little bit lower, but now's when you actually make money. You make money when you buy it, when everyone's screaming buy.
Yeah. And I think dollar cost averaging is the best way to do it. Like not just chucking a chunk of your money in. I feel it scares the fuck out of me that way. Like if you're just putting, like you said, $100 a week in or $50 a week in, you're not thinking about it.
Yeah, and you're happy because everyone wastes money every week. We all waste a little bit of money. So if you're just not wasting, you're just chucking that, it's kind of like it's wasted anyway, but it's you don't notice it. Like if you chuck 20 grand in it like 6 months ago, you'd be freaking out because you'd be down to like 5,000. Because if you slowly bought 20 grand over the whole 6 months, you'd probably have 10,000 or 12,000. You wouldn't be as worried. And then if you keep doing that for the next bit, you'll soon have 100,000.
Yeah, right. What about like commodities? Where's your like silver and gold and things like that? What's your thoughts on?
I think Bitcoin and gold are quite similar, but I just think fucking gold's like it's fucking useless. Like,
So
like I can't see a use for gold. Like it's
Mm.
I get it, but it's like
You could store it in your house and look at it. Look
So
cool.
it's just security. Hey, it's just security for
security,
people, really, isn't it? Just to store their wealth. It's not to make money.
Mm.
yeah.
I guess you had heaps of money, like millions of dollars, like gold. You'd probably be a different story, eh?
Yeah, it might be a different story, but I look at like you can't use this shit. Like if someone wants it overseas, you're going to take $1 million of gold overseas. So, but whereas Bitcoin, you want to transfer $1 million of Bitcoin, it takes 2 minutes and you're in another country. $1 million in the banking system you got to go through so many hurdles and like authorize, and it'll take a few days. So I think for someone who has a lot of money, Bitcoin makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I love it.
Best returning asset for 10 years. And, even though it's down and so volatile, it's still nothing has outperformed it.
Where's your what's your work doing at the moment? Like where you directing your energy at the moment around your sort of, I know you do a lot.
I know I do a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the moment, what I've kind of, my situation is, I've realized that I need to just be like, I need to be creating that's all I need to. Like when I spend my time and attention on, say, one thing, like say I go to Bundaberg and work on construction, I take all my attention away from everything else and I'm not creating. I'm actually just doing. Whereas then everything else suffers, I find. Whereas if I find my energy, I spend it creatively, delegating jobs and creating and getting teams going, then everything happens, right? At the moment, construction's probably taking too much of my time because I don't have a team in there. I've got pottery studio team, people at Mammoth, stillness every day. There's people there. So like there's people working on stuff for me, but the construction's like all me and it's probably draining me too much. But I also enjoy it. So I've got to just figure that part out.
Well, yeah, like we got to figure out where, what's serving humanity. And yeah, I think like a lot of people are in this problem where they're stuck in a job they don't like. I'm not saying you don't like your job, but in general, and they're afraid to move out of that into something new, and like have no plan B. Like if you were to let that job go, and this would be so scary for people, but if you were to let that job go and just go into stillness every day, pottery studio, and what's the other thing you're doing?
Well, just mammoth storage, like it just
mammoth storage, exactly. Yeah, well, say even that. Say even mammoth storage and that, then you've got, like me and Callan were talking about the other day, like having a river. And if you've got all these branches off that river, everything comes out uncooked. It's like you don't have that clean
one thing,
Yeah, and like that's a no-brainer for me personally. I'd look at the ones that are helping humanity, like you said. And that's saying everyone's kind of stuck in that, I reckon. Yeah, like even myself, I'm filming too much and I'm not putting it into this and I don't like that feeling.
Yeah,
but you're playing the prostitute archetype for your dream.
Yeah.
So and you already know that.
I know that. Yeah. But I get it. Yeah. It's like, you can do it for a little while, like you did. Like Callan would not be here today if he didn't go to Karratha and fucking slave like on the mines and save 15 grand.
How funny is that? Just
it's not even much money, dude.
I can't believe I did fucking 6 months doing 12-hour days in the fucking tunnels, and 12-hour days, 14 hours of travel. I wasn't on camp, so I had to then cook my own food. Then I had to go to jiu-jitsu because I didn't want to not do jiu-jitsu, and I was doing MMA at the time. And so it was like, no matter what you did, if you had the sharpest day time allocated, you could get max 6.5 hours sleep and then do it again on poor food,
Yeah.
Coles, they were putting fucking, all you can get is Coles. They were putting stickers over all the holes in the apples and shit. That was just like, you got to cop it in Karratha. Over here, you'd be like, are you fucking serious? But
WA sucks for that.
But man, I needed 15 grand for my study. I saved up that almost to the dollar. And then how's this? I had a job on the gas plant that was pretty lined up and it fell through right at the end, like right there. And I was thinking, fuck, like this would have been big coin, like 70 an hour or something, doing 12-hour days, 19 days on, 8 off and shit, you know what I mean? And then I remember when it failed and I was sick at the time too because I was overworked and I was literally like pretty sick. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, this is meant to be. There's a reason why this is happening. You know what I mean? Then when I went, paid for my studies, dropped all that money on there because it's like I just couldn't save 15 grand here because it was just the routine partying that stage of my life. And now within fucking 2 years, now it's 250 now, and I love it, and I absolutely love it, and it's like
because you did that shit time.
Yeah. So it's funny how the universe says, do you want to do that or what? Do you want the money or do you want to fucking do what you love,
Yeah.
And it constantly just gives you, it's like I honestly believe in it so much now. Like the whole law of attraction, whatever you can reflect, whatever you want to call it, right? Just that the universe is like almost a big digital fucking game.
Yeah, it is.
And that it's just giving you, you want that? Here you go. But it's like as soon as you know what you want, then it just soars at you.
Yeah.
But until you know what you want, it's just fucking random opportunity.
Tunnel vision on that shit, eh?
Yeah.
That's why like I really have started to apply myself with studying the body. Like and I'm tunnel vision on it as I can be with another job. But once that's gone, man, I'm going fucking nuts on it. And the reason I say that is because I think I don't know how the fuck you're doing 4 things.
Yeah, but well, this thing, if I'm not meditating, it's hard to manage.
100%.
But yeah, okay. So if you want to hear the story on why I do so many things,
Yes, yes.
All right. So I started when I first did Vipassana in 2014 or 15, day like 5 or something, I decided I want to study architecture. I was always interested in building, study architecture. So 2016, 17, went to study architecture, came back, wanted to learn about the construction side, not just designing side. Because when I did permaculture design course in 2014 as well, and I always want to incorporate food into cities, right? Sustainable building, sustainable food. You know what permaculture is?
Yeah.
Permaculture. I think Cindy does permaculture, maybe.
Yeah.
Type of, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway. So I'm like, I look at like all these fucking cities that we're building. The CBD's fucked, Aura's fucked, Harmony's fucked. Like they're all just so shit. None of it's sustainable. The buildings suck. No community. Like everything's just horrible
it's
about it.
empty out there.
Yeah, it's like you go there to kill your soul. But you can't do this without money, right? Like, it's a hard game to actually make money. So then you go and can just change the whole thing and want to make it sustainable and bring food into it. It's like, well, no, you got to have an expensive market for that because it's expensive. Anyway, so I studied that, and then when I came back, I was like, how am I going to do this without money? Like, I have to make money. The quickest way to get the money would be to just keep growing Mammoth, which is existing good business. Then the pottery studio thing happened where my girlfriend at the time, which is funny to reflect on because you did the first video as soon as we broke up. But, so my girlfriend and I at the time, she started the business, and we broke up a year later, and I owned the shed, right? So I was like, I don't want to fucking just have an empty shed, so I'll just keep it going. I employed someone, so I employed Gabby just to keep it going. It was a side business, still is. And then it just became like a fucking child, right? Like it's a side business, but it's my child. So I just kept it going and kept growing it. And I just love business, right? Like if you guys came to me and just asked me anything, I'll just like sit down for the weekend and just fucking work on it for free because I like it, right?
I love it, yeah.
So anyway, I always wanted to like build like high rises that incorporated food and like suburbs that had like farming and everything. Both of those are like, we're talking $50 million developments. Like they're not cheap. But now like it's actually coming. Like there's a site in Nambour we just bought, and we're building a high rise on it, and it's got food in it, and it's got like, and I just look at it like I said to Dad, I'm like, oh, this would be a good development. I think a good opportunity. Nambour's cheap. This fucking thing's falling apart. It'll be nothing. He said, fuck off. Basically, don't build high. He doesn't build high rise. So we keep building sheds. And then like a few months later, he's like, oh, maybe we can build commercial on it. So whatever. And like a month later,
fuck you, Dad.
A month later, he goes, oh, why don't we build a high rise? I'm like, yeah, sweet. But it just happened, and I didn't convince him at all. I just kind of was like, this is what you should do.
Planted the seed.
Yeah, but the design, like we don't actually own it yet. We own it next month. We've already pretty much started the design with a sick Dan Sparks in Noosa, a really good architect, and the fucking building is sick.
Sick,
like
man.
It is cool.
Sounds amazing.
And is it it's residential?
So it'll be residential, like 6 floors. Then it'll have a childcare center attached to it, and a bunch of commercial, kind of like James Street commercial.
Yeah.
Brisbane.
So, and a childcare center attached to it, and is that childcare center?
That's Dad's partners. Ara.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, are you gonna incorporate some sort of like Steiner sort of fucking?
Well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And that whole thing, like I just said that because I've been talking to my mate Jummy, who he works hard and he gets up at 3 as well, and just we yell at each other. But he's got 3 kids, and I look at his one of them's just going to Siena, and I know his values, and I'm looking at it going, fuck, this must piss him off. And then I started thinking about it, and now ever since then, like just so many things are coming at me, and it's like I can see that happening now. Like I'll probably will influence.
Man, what's that guy that was some project probably like 10 years ago now? There's that old man, you know that guy, and he wants to make like a full civilization. What was it? The sphere or the fucking and it's like the something project or
I know what his name start with.
There's a doctor someone or something. I don't know.
I
Old
know
dude, man. And it's all about that shit. It's all about ways of living, sustainable modern living.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. We honestly, we need to get some land.
Yeah, we do. And that's it's just
and we need to fucking just have a community, man. And that's what I really want eventually. I think like having a community, because fuck, who was I talking to last night? I can't even remember now, but we're talking about how good it is to come home to your mates in your house and stuff and and your girlfriend or whatever, but just I
Tribe.
love that feeling of not being alone. Like, being alone's great and we can meditate, we can do all that, but how good is it when you got your tribe, man, and that are just on the same path as you, and you can have these conversations. And I just think we've lost that, and I reckon we've got to create that here on the coast, man.
I think if we look at the world economic the situation at the moment, where we got high inflation, everything's fucking expensive, and we're going to go into a recession.
Yeah,
I think the light is forcing the dark to bring that back. Because if you think about what's going to happen now, is we're all going to be living together because we won't be able to afford it. It's like you're going to rent out that room that you didn't want to rent out because you can't afford it. And families are going to come back together, and friends are going to go together because we won't be able to afford $500 a week on our own.
I've heard. That's what I was thinking. Like, when I did that post about females, like, I don't know, a couple months ago now, it was like one of our most liked posts. And it's just like, you see tribes of women. Like, you see a mother these days. Fuck, man, so many mums. You just see they're depleted as shit. Like, from a health perspective, they don't even know. They're going to see this person, wondering why they're 5 coffees and oats for breakfast that is adrenally fatiguing them, Yeah. And they're just, you see them, they're just fucked. They got dark circles under their eyes, and they've got to get up, feed the kid, take him to school, do the house shit. Like, way so much for one person. Instead of having just even 2 more females around her to help, which is what we've done forever. A tribe, you know what I mean? And like you said, it doesn't even have to be a nice, you imagine this oasis. It just means a fucking street with your friends in it.
Man.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and like, hopefully one of them is like a little childcare center throughout the day.
Yeah, man, that's the shit, eh?
Yeah.
That's the dream. And why can't we have that?
Yeah, let's buy a street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But the thing is, if we start to look at a street like that, you look at, let's just go Aura, or I don't even know where you guys live. You got a street that is, the whole community is designed around a fucking car to drive in and park in a driveway. Like, if you take the car away and put them over there, and then you open up that whole area for communal living. You also, if you think about look everywhere you go now, there is no connection to the street from the house because everyone puts a fence up and they put a garage. So no one can see in, see out. There's no like standing at your kitchen or on your deck and waving to someone, or the old Queenslander where you'd be having your morning coffee and someone walk past and you wave to them. So no one knows their neighbours because you got a double lock-up garage and a big fucking 2100 high fence. You don't even know your neighbours.
Yeah.
We used to have these small fences, and then you have a veranda where you're kind of elevated, you're like protected in your house, but hey, how you going? Like, you know everyone, and you got a veggie garden in the front.
Got nothing to hide.
There's no community anymore, eh? It's like there's all these big fences, and you're just protecting what's yours, but we've kind of lost like what the tribe is. Yeah, for sure.
100%.
That's why we just got to have like 20 cunts in our house.
It's crazy how much I value now, like a northern facing house. Like, people really underestimate that shit. I'm like, man,
fuck yeah.
Like, especially now with this mold shit going on. I was like, man, imagine just having sun, just at least taking that humidity out of your house, just taking that water out of your house, and how the whole energy is different. Like, there's a cafe I stopped going to pretty well because
South facing,
and it just feels cold. And then I go to scrub every morning, and I think the biggest thing is because it's fucking northern facing, and I get this sun, and it charges you, and people don't think about that shit.
Fuck no, they don't. You're probably like, we think about that shit, but most people don't.
And they don't know why they're not going there, but they're feeling it, you know? And I love that where we are here is we got mangroves opposite us in a commercial area, northern facing through there, and the sun's coming through. It's like, really, really underestimate that, and
it's crazy. Like,
it's like now I'm not going to buy a house that's not northern facing.
No, you would never do that.
And do you reckon houses are going to crash for us? Am I going to be able to buy a house on the beach and fucking?
You'll be able to buy a house because you'll be a millionaire.
Yeah, but is inflation going to crank that house to 2 million?
I don't know. See, the way I look at it is the people that own property aren't going to they're not going to sell it.
Yeah,
because they can hold on to it. So the only way it'll crash is if everyone's selling it, right?
Yeah.
There's like a housing shortage. I don't know if there actually is, but it seems like there is because there's no one can find rentals. So if anything, rental price is going to go up and house price will stay the same.
Yeah,
but
when the interest rates go up and all these people that can't afford it, because a lot of people that are overstretched, they're going to have to sell some of them.
Yeah, I mean they might, or they'll start renting their rooms out, or they'll find a way. They'll stop gambling and drinking. I think Australia's got a lot of money and we just fucking waste a lot of it on stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like the gambling companies are so big. We
Fuck
waste
yeah.
a lot of money on just shit.
We're
Yeah.
so spoiled here in
Yeah.
Australia, like our healthcare, everything. Like if you can't thrive here in Australia,
Yeah.
there's something wrong with you. It's not the
Yeah,
place.
Yeah.
true. You think even with all this inflation, like if someone gets a bag once a week, that's a fucking lot of
Bro,
money.
I don't get how people can
Yeah.
fucking buy a bag a week,
Yeah.
2 bags a week.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
I
It's
know.
like, they're
Not in
spending
Australia.
350. It's like, man, there's your food, there's your fucking
Yeah.
fuel,
Yeah,
there's
I
all
mean-
that, and there's the shit we were worrying about. Like,
Yeah.
And you probably
I never
just-
fucking, I mean, I've done it a few times, but I never got into it. And just the money thing, like
Same.
have a fucking cap of MDMA if you have to do something.
Same.
It's 20
Yeah.
bucks.
same. That's why I sold pills, because it was ethical. I felt like I was ripping them off if I was selling cocaine.
Oh man, I didn't like. Speaking of cocaine, yeah, like I've done it a handful of times, but like not much in Australia. Like
Yeah.
it just, I have never really had a great time doing it here. Like especially when I was younger, I've done it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even in Peru and like Mexico when I was there, like I did it a little bit, but I still wasn't like, it's
pretty dirty.
Everyone talks about this fucking drug. Like I mean, you must be pretty miserable if you just have to punch heaps of lines of cocaine every weekend and that's like your high.
Remember what
Because
Donald told you, man?
Yeah.
Remember you were talking about going to New York? And then
oh yeah, man. When I went to New York, Donald Carr was like, he could just feel me, he could read me, you know. And he's like, man, and he's in his Irish accent. He's like, don't get fucking caught up in that shit. He's like, it's shit. And he probably wouldn't even remember saying it, but it meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Because like the first night I got into New York, I was living in Williamsburg, and there's those chicks at the house. It was what the fuck? What's the where they have the turkey? Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
It was Thanksgiving. There's all these chicks in the house, and I was like, it was so loud, man. And I was like actually scared. I just put a mattress up against the door, and some chick was trying to come in and talk to us shit. And I was like, and there was heaps of coke around. And I was like, this is fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes, it leads to nothing but unhappiness.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and that's what I see, man.
Yeah.
Fuck,
What did you
see
say?
At least he said that, and then finished it. Well, from what I remember, Jake
Yeah,
telling
I
me.
forgot. Yeah,
It leads to nothing but unhappiness.
Yeah.
Drugs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Always.
yeah.
And
Except my
you see
friends.
it. Yeah, except like maybe like a little bump once every 2 months.
No,
No,
I
no. But-
You can microgram coke, eh?
Yeah.
yeah, like shrooms and LSD. You know, obviously
Yeah.
there's an extremity. If someone's doing that fucking every day, well, you know, they're escaping their life still. But man, you see it. You see the crew that go out in the weekend, get the bag, and I see them now as this person's unhappy. They don't even.
Yeah.
They may not know it yet, or they probably do. But I see that as this person's unhappy because their week's so shit that they have to spend fucking half their week's wage.
Yeah, and
to
they're
go do
they're
that.
fractured too. That's what I've noticed is like the people who I know that have been friends and they do a lot of cocaine. They're fractured in the way that when they're not high or drinking, they're kind of like a bit like unpresent. It's like their mind's just like they want to be somewhere else, and they're just like like it's just there's something weird about it. Just does that to you, I reckon, because they seem a little bit scattered, a little uneasy in their being.
Yeah. It's like they never can sit there and talk to you without thinking about something else.
Yeah.
It's you can see it in so many people,
It
man.
must just bring you into your ego so much. I know Paul's talked about that. Like those drugs really do bring you into your ego, and yeah, so maybe that's what it's doing over a long period of time.
I scrolled down on my Instagram yesterday or the day before and like saw me in that fucking period.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
dumb. Like reading, I was
How
reading,
dumb is it?
reading the comments of like, I'm just like fucked on coke. I can remember this night and I'm reading the comments going like hashtag I'm still sick as a dog or something. I'm just like, fuck, how did
Yeah.
I do that?
Yeah, you got to do it though.
Yeah, you have to do it to be able to now talk about it and go, that's dumb. Because someone's not
Yeah.
going to listen to you. If I'd never touched it, never sold drugs, never done anything, they'd be like,
Yeah,
shut
you
up,
got to
cunt.
have those dog years,
Yeah.
man. I remember Scotty, you always talked about people. I don't respect anyone that hasn't had those dog years, like been in a couple fights, done some drugs, like done that shit, and they can speak on it because they know it. Like, so kids like listening to this and shit, like, you know, fuck, you're gonna do it. It's part of life. Like, you're gonna have to explore your journey for yourself. But fuck, if you could take any advice, what would it be from you, like with that kind of shit?
I wouldn't be scared to try it. I would be scared to be consistent with it. Like try it in a safe environment, but don't fucking go any further. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say fucking try cocaine, but like,
Try cocaine.
like, I've never been scared to do it, but I've just known like I could stop. Like fuck, like I've smoked cigarettes for periods of time and I could stop the next day. I did stop the next day, you know, and when I drank alcohol, I just said, okay, I'm stopping tomorrow, and I never drank again. It's like, I know in myself that I can fucking flick a switch and that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to change the subject, because what you say, if you haven't done the thing, can't talk about it. Like, I think it's important for everything. Like you said, if you haven't been punched in the face before, or you haven't, you know, anything, to then be able to talk about it. I think this is one of the biggest things with me with business, right? Like, I came into, my dad had built this fucking empire on the coast with his, you know, construction and own mammoth and everything. And I'd kind of come into it, right? And I'd learnt from my dad, but I've entered into like $1 million business. I haven't started from the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So I've always had this thing where I wanted to do it myself. So I've never, like, I think I worked out the other day, in the 10 years I worked for my old man, I've earned less than $300,000. So it's like $30,000 a year, because I don't fucking get paid. Like, I got off wages about a year ago, and Dad thinks I'm fucking nuts, but I want to know that I can fucking pay for my life from the pottery studio, right? So like, if you look at my super, I reckon, I think I took it all out during COVID, but I think I had $12,000.
Wow.
That's fuck all. That means I've earned nothing, right?
Yeah.
So like, I want to fucking know what it's like to eat fucking nothing and just struggle.
That's important, man.
Because I got so many mates who are just rich, and they come into it, and then they don't even know, like, you know, given everything. And then they're on $200,000 a year. I don't even fucking know what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't appreciate it.
Nah.
That's like Gary Vee's, like, the worst thing you can do is be just have shit given to you. Whereas, because you have no purpose. And I think that really ties back into the drugs.
Yeah.
Because then you're getting the high from the drugs and the parties and things like that. But you haven't had to work. Like, there's nothing better than us fucking working our ass off to get this place. Like, I come in here every day, and how good does it feel, man? Just because we really fucking, I don't even know how we've done it, man. Yeah. Like, it's like 80 grand we've put into this place.
Yeah, where the fuck's that money come from?
I have no idea.
And we're not in debt. And it's like, I don't, it felt like it was easy. And I've always felt like I wasn't a super disciplined person. But to the outside world, fuck, they probably think and I guess compared to the, you know, like I just didn't feel like I've always been a really hard worker or like this, but I've still got the job done. Like, I don't know, you never, I guess that's just being hard on yourself, but sure. You know what I mean? Like, even when I studied for Czech, I half-assed studied, but I somehow fucking knew a lot of it, like, because I still liked it, but I just still didn't like the act of studying. But now I like studying with freedom. Yeah. Like, I love knowing, like, oh, I want to learn about the shoulder, then I can go hard on the shoulder. But if someone says, all right, this month you're doing this, that changes it for me. Yeah. Even if, I don't know, it just does.
And that's a really cool observation of yourself, man, because I see that, and I see how good you are at retaining information that you love in short bursts of learning from amazing people, and you can recite the information. And I've thought before, I'm like, is that the right way to study? And I'm like, fucking oath it is. That's everything, man. Yeah. Like, you're learning from a Stanford professor. Yeah. You're learning from, it's like, we've got to get out of this thing of like textbooks, read from the beginning to the end, and then try and know all that. It's not like that anymore, man. We've got videos. We've got people that I do 1 hour of tutoring with this girl. I learn more than I do in 8 hours, a whole day of going through a book. Yeah. It's like we learn from these people that have done it before, and short, intense bursts, like Huberman says, is the way to study.
Well, you're reading. Remember when you were a kid? You should mention how, was it reading or spelling or something? Oh,
yeah. So I was spelling. I had a spelling problem, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's gonna have to stay back grade 4. He's dumb." And then my mum was like, "I'll go. I'll take him to tutoring for 6 weeks. So he'll do 6 weeks of tutoring, just on spelling." And I learned how to spell in that 6 weeks. Yeah, everything. And now I'm a great speller. Like, my punctuation is getting better, but I'm a great speller, and I feel like I could spell anything almost. And that's like 6 weeks, man. Yeah. And I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, well, I want to level up my anatomy, and I want to level up. So who can I do that through? I found Susie Neville, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just do 1 hour sessions every 2 weeks with her. And man, it's been the best fucking thing ever. Yeah. And also, like, you listening to the best guy on tendons in the world. Yeah. Like, he's retaining all that information. I can see how good that is for him, and talking about it with everyone helps cement it in you and help people. It's like, that's what it's all about. Like, I think we've got to get out of that, like, that whole textbook thing, man. It's
why the school's fucking broken, because Eric Thomas even says, he said, you don't need to read 100 pages. You need to read one page 100 times and consume it.
Yes.
And like people always wonder why I'm listening to the same fucking thing over and over again. Every day I'm listening to someone, whether it's Joe Dispenza, it's Gary Vee, Seth Godin, Andy Frisella, whatever it is, it's the same shit all the time.
Yeah.
All the fucking time.
It is,
but like I'm consumed it. Like I know it.
Yeah.
You can't listen. I'll send you one thing and you're like, yeah, cool, that's motivating. But it's like, did you understand what he actually said?
Yeah.
Like people listen to Gary Vee go, oh, he's fucking up himself. Listen to what the guy's fucking saying. Who cares if he's up himself? Like,
100%. Like he needs that. You need that ego. And I'm the same with Rum Dust. Like every night, man, it's on, and I love it. I listen to half an hour, like, and I'll fall asleep. And I don't know what it is about it, but I just.
Bro, Alan Watts used to put for 2 years
best,
every day. Like
best.
I know like just about every word the guy said. In his fucking videos.
I love Alan Watts.
He's got the best voice, I reckon.
Yeah. I'm loving Sam Harris at the moment.
Yeah. You are like a Sam Harris. Like you are a Sam Harris in my head. Like he's
Sam
the
Harris
perfect
Vipassana.
Yeah. Well,
He's done
I love
40
it because I don't know. He really mixes in almost the
science of it.
It's like logic, that masculine. Boom, this is why you meditate, and this is what's happening. And I can drop in way more like that.
That's cool.
Because I'm doing these other ones in, say, this like in a work thing I've been doing, but it gets a bit like, all right, now drop into your fourth chakra and then drop down here, and I'm like, that doesn't hit it like for me. But when they're talking about, just feel this, and just like, this is what this is, and this is how this can benefit you, and I'm like, oh wow, this shit's fucking.
You'd love Vipassana.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It'd be fucking nuts. Yeah. I mean,
But
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll be able to do it. I know I'll be able to do it, but.
Yeah, to be honest, man, it scares the fuck out of me. I've thought about it heaps, and I do. Like I was thinking, there's so many methods. Like you're talking about methods then that work for you, and that does work for you. And Vipassana, I think, is a beast because you got to drop like 10 days, no talking, no thinking, like try not to think.
I mean, try not to. But you don't need to try not to think because when you're observing when you're observing sensations, they go away. I had this moment just quickly on that on day 9 where I was in my room, total awareness of just exactly what was happening, like no thoughts whatsoever for at least 5 minutes. I was just consciousness, just observing everything. Like it was nuts. Like think about how long you can go without having a thought. It's like 3 seconds. It was like literally 5 minutes, and I was just like, everything I'd look at it just be pure observation, like I was a child watching it.
Wow.
So nuts.
Yeah,
And that's like what
joy, hey?
That must be like the taste of liberation, like what it would be like.
Yeah, I've had that a couple of times actually, and that's what you would say would be like pure joy.
Yeah.
It's a really weird feeling, isn't it? Yeah, I can count on the amount of times in my hand that I've had that, but I have had it, and it's like, it's almost like this feeling of like I'm never going to be unhappy again, eh?
Yeah.
It's like you're like
nothing can phase you. That's what that was the moment when I said I could do another 10 days right now, because I was just like, you can't be unhappy in the pure now, in the exact present.
So the next extreme is you doing that in a pitch black room for 10 days?
Well, I thought what Aubrey Marcus did is 5 days.
So he came out on the 5th, and that was a touching podcast that Aubrey did where he was talking about that, like the different states his mind was in.
That would be wild. I would probably do it 3 days.
Yeah, no sunlight. Like
man.
It'd fuck with you so much.
It would fuck with you, eh?
I never want to deal with that again. Yeah, that would be fucked.
Yeah.
Did you do it? Oh,
no, when I was in the watch house, it was 6 days, 5 nights of no sun.
Well, that would have been the same then, right?
Well, I was under bright LEDs for the whole day.
That's even worse, probably.
It was pretty bad. It was because it was bright LEDs and then no pillow, no.
Did you get any wisdom from that? You had to have, because like if you think about, let's think. I mean, I don't know. Jesus was in a cave. Buddha was under a tree. Baha'u'llah is like from the Baha'i faith. He was like chained up and put into a chamber. Like all these guys that are like religious professors, they all went and were in silence on their own in somewhere dark.
Yeah, well, this was harsh, bright, fucking unnatural lighting, and just like people at midnight were screaming, coming in pissed, and then like, rah, there was one guy I remember just going, SLUT, slut. Like, I'm talking fucking as loud as, it's almost like, I don't know, some sort of like gay dude been picked up on the street and just obviously had been locked up. And then people were like, shut the fuck up, right, to him. But I was escaping with a book. I had a Wilbur Smith book called Birds of Prey, and I was the biggest book I read in my life. I was escaping to Africa in that book, and I remember having a nightmare about crocodiles because there was a bit in the book where this guy was crossing a crocodile infested lake, and I still think they're now the scariest animal to me.
Mm.
But like, nah, was it like? It was just like, yeah, you were escaping, but it wasn't like I was in there for 6 days and like, oh, let's just see how in I can get, and then I'm out. It was like I was in there not knowing what day I was getting out, and then knowing I had 7 months ahead of me, and not knowing if I'm meant to like get to jail and then fight, or if there's cunts that just whatever, you know what I mean? Just get in, just didn't know what tomorrow brought.
Yeah.
So,
there's a guy that went to jail and on Midnight Gospel, he does a whole episode, man. I don't know the guy exactly, but he was in jail for like 30 years. And now he's like a full meditation teacher. And he said, I loved it in there. He's like, didn't matter where I was. And I was going everywhere, traveled everywhere in my head. Like he's just like, and he said it's the best thing ever. And Ram Dass did a lot of work in the jails. Like he'd go to jails to set them free, because I guess the paradox is they're not free.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it was really just like school, man. So your mind's preoccupied with this TV, you're playing cards.
Yeah.
Once you're in there, there's no, I don't feel
outside
like
world.
I don't feel like you're leveling up and you're spiritually and shit. It was just like, if anything, you just stay in stale and you go back and do the same shit. But in the watch house, that was different. That was way worse. Though it was like I remember saying afterwards, during like even a month in, I was like, I'd rather do like a month in jail than a week in the watch house. Yeah, right. Easily. That's how bad solitary is.
That would be fucked, eh? Yeah. That would be fucked in there, and not having any comfort, like no blanket.
Yeah,
like,
no blanket. That was freezing. So they'd give you a trackie, and you'd decide to roll up the trackie as a pillow, or you'd wear the trackie. So it'd alternate. Sometimes your head would get sore. You'd use that, then you get cold. And the mattress is 3 like cushions that are like synthetic plastic sort of shit. Yeah. It's weird. Why can't they give you a fucking pillow and you can't hang yourself with anything in there. It's like, so it's like
fucking idiots.
I don't know. Yeah. So they gave us a book, but
I did Vipassana in some jails, and the repeat offense just dropped.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. It would have to go deep, man. But it's all drugs. Everyone's in there for drugs. So they get out, they get back on the drug.
So if you learn how to observe your reaction to drugs, you would not need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I never fucking saw anyone not come back in almost. They'd be all healthy in there, eating good, and they come back in looking like an anorexic junkie. Yeah. They just do it again. Yeah. As soon as they're out, they just boot it up. And no one just, I'm not talking pills and shit. Yeah. That was so unorthodox to be in there for pills when I was in there. Yeah. Right. Everyone just boots up speed. Yeah. Right. And they don't even smoke it. They're all booted up. So it's just a different life.
If you're in there for life, like two things that would happen if you're in there for life. You'd learn how to give good head, and you'd fucking just start shooting up speed, boys.
I'd hopefully learn
8 days in.
learn how to get good head.
Yeah. I'd be a real good giver, like
just passionate. Man, there was guys in there getting head, and they weren't even like in there for long and shit. And I was like, one guy was in there for like 3 months, and I was in 7. I was like, man, at the end of my 7 months, not even close. It's like you don't just turn gay all of a sudden, you know?
It's either in you or not. It just
ends.
I guess.
Like the sex drive just goes.
Yeah,
and like, you just there's no
7 months of retention or what?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Like how did you bat off? Like, was there a guy like next to you? Like, just sneaky? Like,
nah, I had my own cell after a while. So at the start, it was hard, you know what I mean? But
did you?
I hate that my mum listens to this podcast.
Man, she'd know. She's seen you. She changed your nappies. Like, she knows everything.
Yeah.
Did you? So did you? Yeah, like when there was a guy next to you, like, did you ever rub one out?
I feel like I would have,
and it would have been hell sneaky.
He would have been asleep, you know what I mean? But there's a shower. The shower's in there, so you can, but it would have been the shower. But then I got my own cell.
Fuck,
eventually.
That's sick.
But man, there was this. I remember there was this Rob guy. He was definitely the gay dude in the unit, and he just like watched me when I'd work out and shit, and like, hey man. But he was like, it's cool in there. It's so funny. You think. Like, it's more progressive in there than it is out here almost. Like, in there, no one gives a fuck if you're gay. You're one of the boys. Yeah. How weird's that? Hey, you think it wouldn't be like that. But it's like, hey, man, like, he's just, and like, you even like hug him and shit. Like, it's literally like that. Yeah. So he was just one of the boys, and he'd be looked after like any of the boys. But he'd say little things, but he's harmless. You know what I mean? Yeah, he just liked the look of me. You know? But he was like, I felt, like you'd light him up, you know what I mean? I felt safe in there because I had jiu-jitsu behind me. So I felt safe. And, as you do jiu-jitsu now, you know, if someone's never done it and you know they've never done it, you know there's no chance that they can ever hurt you, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like that. But I was teaching jiu-jitsu to the boys, some of the boys by the end.
Yeah, that would have kept you safe in there.
Yeah, yeah. And we were like sort of the big table. We were the head table.
Yeah.
I just sort of managed to fit in with them. It was me, about 5. My Sally was Cook Island boy. Shout out to Pa if you're listening. Pa Mahia. He was in for Rob in Cook Islands, and he was only 18. And everyone was Islander, Marion Islander, in my table anyway.
Mm-hmm.
One Aussie dude with me and 2 Vietnamese. The Vietnamese are all heroin.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So any Vietnamese you see, like, heroin. They've been there for heroin.
Yeah.
So the one guy,
Wow.
his name was Tran. He was doing, I think he was doing life, hadn't been sentenced yet, but he got done with like kilos of it. So
Fuck.
shredded at cards, real cool dude. And then the other guy was cool as, man, came back in, full back on the heroin, got fucked up again, eh?
Yeah.
So it's like that's one that they really just struggle to get away from, hey, if it's around them. And man, if it's around you, fuck, like it's your circle, it's your tribe, you are who you hang out with.
You got to get rid of it.
Yeah, it's like it's hard for them, you know. They're all
Just literally
South
got to
Bris.
leave your circle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally, yeah. And they're all
Yeah.
then it's their family, right? And they're all South Bris, Inala, Woodridge, everyone's from there, you know. So
Yeah.
it is just that.
One of my best mates in the Goldie, he went, I can't remember why he went, but he was telling me the other day, as he does concrete for me, and he's like, I don't know how you got like 100 and whatever fucking days, same retention. He's like, the longest I went, I was in jail on 20 days and then I had a wet dream.
Yeah, I just wet dream, dude. Like
Yeah.
I've tried it before, and I
Yeah.
get to about that like 10-day place, and then I'm
want one.
eating some chick out, and then I'm just like fucking, and then I'm just busting in the dream.
And you're on the testicles too. You're eating the testicles, man. That gave Jake a fucking hard one in the middle of the night when he ate testicles.
Yeah, I mean, there was a period on the carnival where I just like lost fucking all libido, but then bath milk brought it back, and then also that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, but it's definitely there. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. Maybe a fucking Vipassana, I just observe a sensation of wanting to fucking come and I don't do it.
Where you at with food now? Like,
Yeah.
what you just eat meat and whatever veggies you want, or
Yeah.
like
I'm slowly bringing veggies back in.
like sweet potato
fucking
and shit like that, or
I've been having white potato and
just sweet potato. How does it agree? Does it agree with you? Or?
It's fine, yeah.
So all the potatoes agree with you. Have you found out what foods don't agree with you? From a
No, but I
vegetable
think
perspective?
that thing that I was telling you about, I think Jackie was saying it's candida and it's
Yeah.
probably from fruit, and I got rid of fruit when I had did the cleanse, and that's
Yeah.
why it went away.
Yeah.
So
Fucking oath.
I eat fruit and meat, so it's probably what's causing it. I don't know how to
Yeah.
get rid of it.
And man, you just got to think, an apple these days is 3 times as large of a wild apple.
Yeah.
You know, a banana is fucking, 3 or 4 times larger than a wild banana.
Yeah.
So if the people that think, I'm having an apple a day, they're really having 3 apples a day compared to nature. You know, so an onion is fucking like this big. Wild onions are this big. You know, so people can tolerate amounts of things. It's the stressor, right? It's like I can have a 20-minute sauna, but I shouldn't have a 2-hour sauna. I can have a little bit of veggies, you know, but if I'm having just plants all the time, I know that my body is like, what the fuck are you doing? Give me some meat.
Yeah.
If I do a workout, man, like, and if you gave me a salad after a workout, it's such a clear, what's the word? Insult to what my body's telling me. You know? And it's like, it would not like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need connective tissue.
Exactly.
And now that I'm getting into that tendon stuff with this dude, man, like he's like, you know, collagen, if you're not having any, he goes, you cannot get collagen on plant-based diets. He goes, they're trying to come up with ways. He goes, it's missing amino acids. It's not complete.
Yeah.
It's like, you just cannot do it. And so if he goes 15, 20 grams of collagen, or ideally bone broth or something, right? And how funny is that they did 10 grams of collagen, 5 grams of collagen, 5 grams of gelatin, and it didn't work. So it's either one or the other.
Yeah,
It had to be either 15 grams of gelatin or 15 grams of collagen, but you couldn't mix the two and get the same result. But it talks about like a tendon. If you injure it and you have a scar in that tendon and haven't done the proper tendon work or teaching that tendon what it's going to do again while it's healing, it's like a rock in a river. And all the fibers go around it, but there's that weakness right in the center there that then the rest of it is always working a bit harder. So you need to really break down that tissue and then long isometric hold and strengthen those tendons with the collagen. But hence why I don't take on vegan clients, right? Because if they got connective tissue problems, and in my belief, I think it's 70-80% of the work is diet and nutrition. I'm not gonna. How can you help them?
You'll make it worse almost, or not?
Well, they're not eating collagen. I just feel like I'm pissing in the wind. Like the connective tissues every day is lacking. You stop making it past, they say 25, but this guy was saying around 19, they stop, that your body will stop naturally turning over collagen. So it's only coming in from your diet.
Yeah, right.
So, and makes sense. Every single tribe had the bones, right? If you imagine getting a chicken, you're definitely not going to roast it. You're going to fucking put it into some soup and get as much out of it as you can to give it to 20 people, you know?
Yeah.
So they're getting the cartilage, they're getting the joint capsules, and you'd be really surprised how much of a chicken you can eat if you actually like realize, if you get to that joint capsule, I've my whole life just thrown that shit away, but you can bite that, and that's better than any collagen supplement you can get.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for skin, nails, hair, connective tissue. If you're someone with a tendon issue right now, I'd be loading the fuck up on that, and every 6 hours.
Yeah.
Every 6 hours. That's a good little thing I didn't know about. You know, what time?
1:20.
1:20.
Yeah,
Fuck,
I
this
reckon,
is flown by.
Yeah, might have to wind it up.
Yeah. Before these fucking cameras, hopefully they're all working and shit. I'll sort that one out somehow.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on, dude.
No worries. Hopefully there's some
awesome
value for your people.
Yeah,
Definitely.
dude. Of course. And fuck, it's just sick to get crew on that are just fucking living the dream.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Gotta get
So drop your Instagram so everyone can see your stories, because they're the best. They're the best stories.
Yeah.
The people actually, what you guys actually watching?
Yeah,
fucking
watching,
oath.
love it. I love the one the other day. If like, look at this full moon. It's like, if you don't like this full moon, fuck you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
more of that
fuck
shit,
you.
dude.
Yeah.
More of that shit.
Who doesn't like a full moon? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine hating
I
a
love
full
it.
moon.
It actually, for me, bro, seeing you do what you do sets me free,
Yeah.
because I'm just learning how to really come out of my shell at the moment in every aspect of my life, and that's one of them. I just want to be able to talk to the camera and just be like, I'm so over worrying about what people think,
Yeah.
and it's inspiring to see you just do that. You know, it's cool.
Mm.
It sets everyone else free.
I think Mum must have said something the other day, like just like against what it was. Like, you know, why do you need to talk about that on? I was like, Mum, I could literally fucking drive away from here now, wrap my car around a tree, and that'd be it. Like, why would I care what anyone fucking thinks?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
that's it. It's
Yeah, it's hardest with family though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard, I just block it off. But the thing, once you start to realize that how you interpret anyone is a reflection of you, then you realize that I don't know if I did post about this, but it's like, there's like 6 or 5 versions right now. Like there's the version I see of Callan, the version you see of Callan, the version Callan sees of Callan. And then there's the version Callan thinks that we think of him. There's 4 Callans in the room.
Yeah.
There's not just one Callan. So why would Callan care what you think or I think? Because there's so many of us.
Yeah.
Like
Can't keep everyone happy.
there's
Yeah.
infinite versions of me. So if I say one thing, it's going to be interpreted so many different ways, and there's so many different versions of me. It doesn't even fucking matter. I know what my version is. That's it.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah. Well, it's just speaking your, like they say, life's about speaking your truth and everyone should be speaking their truth, and then you just keep speaking it until someone else's truth resonates with you more, and then you take on that truth.
Yeah.
And that's it. So people aren't speaking their truth.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what you're going through at the moment. Heaps. It's pretty cool to see, because it's fucking Jake's really speaking his truth lately. You know, and it's
Oh, really?
like, it's just scary shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just scary relationship stuff where you just gotta delve into it and just be who you really are.
Can we go 5 more minutes? Or not?
Yeah.
Are you guys are you still with Brie?
Yeah, well, so this is actually a really good. Let's talk about this. Okay, so she's in Alaska right now for 8 months, dancing on a cruise ship, and I thought to myself, I was like, I still want to be with her, but I don't want to be celibate for 8 months, and that's just being true to myself, because I know my whole life I've been single, right, and I don't want to just go out and just randomly fuck chicks, but I also don't want to say I never want to. Like, if I'm doing something, I know I'll hate the feeling of having an attraction with someone or something, and just feeling like, oh no, I'm not allowed. I can't, because there's someone over there. And I felt that way. And Jake was like, man, just speak the truth. So I literally told her exactly how I felt. I go, this is what happened. Okay. So anyway, it's so funny. I was on Ocean Street. Anyway, hooked up with this chick. Then 24 hours, Brie finds out in fucking Alaska, the other side of the world. How funny is that?
Was it before or after you told her?
This was before I told her, but we were already arranged that this would happen without actually sort of being super open about it. But we both knew that was the case, right? And it was said, but we just didn't go into a 10-minute conversation about how clear that was. And then fucking at 24 hours, she finds out. How nuts is that? Because some chick saw me and told her, and they shouldn't have even told her, because that was the arrangement we sort of had. Like, I don't want to, let's not just chat about it. Basically treat it like an open relationship while you're overseas. And then I just said, this is exactly when she asked me, did you go home with someone last night? I was like, yes. I didn't do any lying, and it felt good. No, and I realized you can never lie in a relationship.
No,
I'll never lie. Hopefully I say that right. I hope I never do. And I just told her that, yeah, this is how I feel. I feel like if you're over there and you're there for 8 months and then say you come back for a month and then you get another year contract. Like, I don't know if we're going to be together in another 6 months from now, because I want her to live her dream over there. She loves the dancing. But at the same time, I can't be staying at home in limbo, sort of like having to be restricted when she may move to the other side of the world. And I felt like I just wasted the last 2 years of who knows who I could have met, you know?
Yeah.
And then Jake's like, just tell her exactly that. So, and he goes, and if you do, like, she'll respect that, you know? So I did. And at the start of the conversation, she was like, no, I don't know how I feel about open relationship, rah. But I really just kept reassuring her, this is how I feel, you know, I definitely want to see you when you're back. Like, I do want to see you when you're back. Like, and then by the end, she was good. And it was like, it was all back to normal. And she allowed me to do that. And as soon as she allowed me, I loved her fucking twice as much. And I haven't hooked up with a chick since. Yeah. And maybe I will, I don't know, but I haven't wanted to. It's like not a thought.
Yeah.
But she allowed me to.
Yeah.
And I felt like, oh, I'm free. There's no what's the word?
You got free will. There's no restriction anymore.
No restriction. No conditions. No conditional love. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, I love her even more for that. You know. Now I'm like, I just can't wait till she gets home, and I'm more attracted to her.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And it was just cool that, that was I set myself free from telling the truth, and we're closer now because of that. And when I told, like, if you're home, like, I'll be with you. You know.
Do you want to marry her?
Marriage for me doesn't excite me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the word marriage doesn't excite
Neither,
me. The contract doesn't excite me. It's another thing that makes me feel contracted in that. What if we're going to break up? I got to go see someone to allow us to break up, all that sort of shit. I'm not into that. I could
put aside the
contract,
government part of it, like the contract.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, possibly, yeah. Like I could do a day with her, like a ceremony. You know what I mean? But not anytime soon.
The part of committing to life, I guess, what I'm saying. The marriage of two souls, I guess.
Yeah. Like, she's good, man. And I realize now that when she's home, I'm better. Like, I realize you need that support of a second. Like, I've realized how, because I've done single my whole life. I'm like, fuck, it's nice when someone's at home and can start dinner for you. And we go 50-50 in the cooking. So she'll cook, I'll cook. If she cooks, I clean, vice versa. She'll make desserts. We massage each other every night because I taught her a bit of hands-on shit. So I'm like, all right, can you hit this spot? And she's gotten good at it now. So I'm better with her, and I go towards my dream more with her. And she takes me away from the other distractions of going to smoke with the boys and shit. I get more shit done.
You guys are amazing together.
Yeah.
And that's part of relationships. And I think this isn't even talked about it much at all. But like, I tell everyone to listen to this podcast that I listened to recently with Paul Check and Christopher Ryan, who's the author of Sex at Dawn. And he talks about this story of Tiger Woods, how he was getting caught fucking prozzies or whatever in New York and being all sly about it. And he's like, I wish I got my hands on Tiger Woods. And Paul's like, what do you mean? He's like, I wish I could have just said to that guy, like, you can have it all. You can do all of that. You can do whatever you want unapologetically. You can be who you really are. And that really hit me, because I was like, there's parts in my life and relationships and stuff that I'm just not being completely who I am. And I was like, who am I? And I thought, well, fuck, there's a lot of this shit coming up all the time that I'm pushing down. And it's desire to have sex with other people.
Yeah.
I think, like, people in marriages, people with kids, people with dogs, whatever it is, where we're so afraid of telling our partner that we want to fuck other people, or we're so afraid of telling our partner what we truly feel. Oh, there's that hot chick that just walked by. She's got the biggest fat ass. I love that. I'm so attracted to that. I'd love to have sex with her. Like, it's so triggering for people, but it's really what's going on. It's like, for me, it is like, for me, I look at chicks all the time, and I think about other chicks all the time, and I have in every relationship, and in every relationship I felt so stuck and like I haven't had freedom.
Yeah, right.
And I voiced this to my partner, just to not on a thing like I'm going to go fuck another girl, but just even talking about it set me free. Like he said, with telling the truth. It's the most important thing you can do for the relationship. And yeah, it causes fucking turmoil and it's uncomfortable, really uncomfortable, but you grow and you either grow together or you grow apart. And I think authenticity is the most important thing in any relationship. If you're not being 100% who you are, you shouldn't really be in the relationship, because you're not giving your full self to that person. And if you are monogamous and you want to be in a monogamous relationship with one person, that she's your world, that's fucking amazing. And you can do so much growth in that monogamous relationship.
Mm.
However, if you feel a little bit more on my side of things where you feel like you're always thinking about other women, or you're always like, why wouldn't I be honest about that?
Yeah, exactly. Should be.
and not have shame around that, because in this society it's hard to, it's very Christian. It's very like, you get your marriage, you get your kids, you get your house, and you're in that. And I see people that are amazingly happy and all that, and I love that. But for the people out there that are listening and they're not like that, and they're stuck in that relationship where they feel trapped, you just gotta step out. And I think it's about taking one small step, being like, I actually feel this way. How do you feel about that? And I've been really surprised with my partner's growth. She's like, she didn't take it too well, obviously, but I've been really proud of her in her growth of like, oh, well, you know, this is different, but you know, something could work, or we could talk about, at least we can talk about it and try certain things, or you know, and that's just like so freeing. I feel fucking younger.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's something, because obviously I've been doing this semen retention since January 1st or whatever, and this chick came into my life like a couple months ago, and something that I think coming out of my life